Hey guys, be sure to press like and subscribe. Today we're going to talk about budgeting, about how budgeting can be tough for some expats and what expats leave out and why it's so difficult for some expats to understand some of the budgets that I have and why they're higher than everybody else's out there, because these other people, they live differently. Let's just put it that way. Okay? If you want a comfortable life over here in your retirement, yeah, we have younger expats coming over here and saying, well, I can live on $500 a month. Yeah, you probably can. You're healthy, you're young, and some of you guys don't need insurance, frankly. But what I'm about to get into here is, it's like kind of like a safety net, I'll say. A lot of people don't consider the future in their budgets. To come over here on $1,000 or $800 a month, it's not feasible. In the long term, in 10, 15 years, are you still going to be able to live off of that? Not likely you will be able to. It's not likely you'll be able to. And if you come over here and you have an emergency fund, what if you use that emergency fund? You still want to have the money to replenish it, okay? So I've done some budgets, and I've done the $1,500 budgets, and I've done other budgets, and each one's different because it caters to different people. And I put out a budget the other day about $2,000 to $3,000 is the sweet spot. And the reason why I put that budget out there was this, because it gives you the money for the future, to save for the future, to survive Forex swings, which is key over here in Asia, not just the Philippines, in Asia. That $2,000 to $3,000 budget you can live almost anywhere in Asia with the exception of a few places like really high-end cities or countries or whatever. So with that said, but this budget you can put money aside, and let's say you have a heart attack. God forbid you have a heart attack. And your insurance doesn't cover part of it or something. You have to, let's just say you use up most of your emergency money. Then what? What happens if another emergency comes up? Because more than likely, if you have a major catastrophic illness, chances are you're probably going to have another one. Then what? Well, with this budget here, it gives you enough money to save for those catastrophic times, or if you have to get up and move because of something that's happening with the government, maybe there's a government breakdown, maybe there's a overthrow of the government or something in Asia, wherever you're staying, whether it be the Philippines or what have you, or maybe there's some civil unrest or something like that going on, and you need to get out of there quick. It gives you money to fly wherever you need to go, to be safe. And these small micro budgets, as I call them, they don't give you those options, because then you got to dip into your emergency fund, and then you have to replenish that emergency fund. And with a micro budget, do you have the money to replenish that emergency fund? No, you don't. So I want to put this out there, guys, because a lot of you guys, I know some of you guys are living in the United States, and we got people living in like Tennessee and Alabama and some southern states, and they're living really, really cheap, and they're saying, well, I can live on $1,200 or $1,500 a month in my trailer, in Alabama or Tennessee or whatever, so why should I go to the Philippines? Well, I live in the sun. It's beautiful here. It's sunny. It's cheap. Rents are cheap. And yeah, I have to pay for insurance here. But some of you guys, don't forget, the budgets that you're living on back in the United States, some of you guys are using the Affordable Cares Act or whatever they call that, the one that the Obamacare thing, and you're getting either free insurance or really cheap insurance because you don't have that much income. So you get really cheap health care, so in your budget, yeah, that fits in. Over here, you have to cover, you're not covered by Medicare or Medicaid once you leave the United States. So you have to have that insurance, and you want to have really good insurance, guys. So for you guys that are throwing out there saying, oh, I'm going to live on $800 or I'm going to live on $1,000. Yeah, you can do it, but you're living on the edge. You're really living on the edge. It's unsafe. It's unsafe because if you go to the hospital and they don't cover you on something because you bought a cheaper insurance or something like that, then you got to come up with the difference. And what happens if you don't have that money and the hospital won't release you? Then what? Then you're in trouble, and you need to be safe here. You need to have a budget that's safe. And that's why I say the 2,000 to 3,000 is the sweet spot to live anywhere in Asia. Because you can get up and you'll have the money to fly anywhere. That's why I tell people have like a credit card also, and you'll be able to pay off that credit card if you have to book a flight or something like that or what have you. And you'll be able to use that credit card to maybe pick up some of emergency care costs if your insurance doesn't cover it or whatever. You really got to think. And some of you guys, I see these comments and it's like, and I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but you really aren't thinking when you're telling me, I can live on an $800 budget or whatever. And there are people living here. I get it. There's people living down south of me and north of me that are living on micro budgets. They're doing gardening. They're growing stuff. They're growing their own food, and they live in a nipa hut or whatever, and that's their lifestyle. But for my lifestyle, I don't want to live in a nipa hut, and I don't want to have to go out and slaughter my own pig or chicken in the morning, or to go out in the hot, day and be gardening or whatever. I that's not my lifestyle, and I get it that some people do want to do that, and that's fine. It's okay. But you still need money for health insurance. You need money for emergencies. You need money to go back home if you go back to the States to visit your relatives. You need money to pay for things, your AC. You need money for food. You might want to go take a vacation once in a while. Or you might want to go up to Vietnam if you don't live in Vietnam. Because that 2,000 to 3,000 was an Asian budget. It wasn't just a Philippine budget. It was an expat that wants to live a decent, comfortable lifestyle wherever he is and be safe, and to be able to have the money to repay his emergency fund if he has to, and to sway that budget up or down a little bit, and to survive Forex and inflation, all that. And you could, on that budget, when I say 2,000 to 3,000, that budget's good for probably your life. It's for the average retiree. It's not for a 30-year-old or 40-year-old coming over here, because I know there are 30 and 40-year-olds, that want to come over here. 2,000 to 3,000 might not be enough, to be honest with you, because you guys got 50 years ahead of you. If you're in your 30s, you got 50 years maybe, 40 or 50 years ahead of you still. Is that budget going to be enough? It might not be enough. Oh, I got a visitor here. He's come to say hi. What's it? You gonna say hi? What? Yeah, you gonna say hi? But let's be realistic, guys. And I get it that people, they get ticked off and they say, well, I'm living on this, in my town and stuff like that. I get it. But you're not being realistic for the long-term outlook. And I'm 57. Okay, I'm 57. I could live to be 77. That's still 20 years down the road. I could live to be 87. That's 30 years down the road. So if I was living on a $1,000 budget, in 30 years, am I still going to be able to live on that same budget? Yeah, I might get little cost of living increases, or I might get, things like that. But do those really keep up with inflation? Is that budget going to be safe for if the dollar takes a nosedive, which it probably is going to a little bit more, with all the stimulus being pumped out there? Let's be realistic, guys. We have to really look at the budgets for long term. You guys are looking for 1 year. And when you think about retiring, and that's what we're talking about here, we're expats who are retired. We need to have money to survive into the future. And if you guys don't think about the future, you're going to fail in your expat dream. You're going to fail. And I've told people before, the $1,500 budget that I said, that's a pretty good budget if you're living on Social Security over here and you're getting cost of living increases, and you have the safety net that I talked about. You got $20,000 or $30,000 put aside for an emergency fund. You got your startup fund, to come over here and stuff like that to start things up. Then you're in a good place. Then you're in an excellent place. That $1,500 budget is okay if you have, because it gives you some room to sway, and if you have that money that $20,000 to $30,000 emergency fund, you have maybe some of it maybe in stocks, maybe 10,000 of it you have in stocks, and you have 20,000 on the side or 10,000 on the side for your emergencies or what have you, okay? And you have your insurance too, okay? Then the 1,500, you could probably be okay. You could be okay, because you can also, with the 1,500, you can also, like I said, you can live on 1,000, and the other 500 is for like Forex savings, things like that. You're putting it aside for little emergency things. Little emergency things pop up all the time here, guys. Don't think you're so healthy that you're going to get away with, not getting sick. Look at me. I've had cellulitis. I've been in the hospital for food poisoning over here, and I had kidney stones. That's all in the past 3 years alone. So, I mean, things happen, guys. It happens. And granted, the medical care over here is fairly cheap and fairly reasonable. And I've been lucky so far, and unfortunately I have decent insurance over here because I have Pacific Cross and I have the Access card, which pays the hospital right away for inpatient, but not for outpatient unless I buy that, which I haven't bought yet, but I am going to buy it, okay? So I just want to get you guys thinking a little bit more. I want to get you guys really to open up your mind more. I really want, and I talk about this a lot because a lot of you guys out there, I mean, I'm not going to... Some people are very closed-minded, let's put it that way, okay? You need to open up and look at the bigger picture. Think outside the box, guys, not inside the box. A lot of you guys are thinking inside the box still. The world is changing. It's changing fast. And you want to be on board with that, okay? You don't want to be left behind. Because if you think you're going to come over here and you're living off $800 a month in dividends and you're 45 years old or something like that, and you think you're going to come over here and live forever on that, you're not going to. You're going to be a failure. You're probably going to have to go in to get a repatriation loan to go back to the United States. And you don't want that to happen. I rather see, look at me. Before I came here, I worked hard for 4 years, night and day, 2 jobs. And I planned, night and day, I planned and planned. I had everything written down, researched things on weekends when I was doing security work on weekends. That was my part-time job, and during the week I worked for the municipality. But I used to plan. I planned like crazy. I wrote down things. I made sure everything would work. What I have in these budgets is enough to help you into your long-term future. It'll probably even help you in really long-term, maybe even into your 90s if you live. And that's what I plan for. I want these budgets to be rock solid safe. And for the most part, I can't say for sure that they're 100% safe, but I'll bet you they're the safest budgets out there that are on the web right now. Because these people that are telling you, oh, I can live on 550, and I live down in Nagar City, and there's another guy, there's actually a guy in the United States who has a thing about living on $200 a month. He's a homeless guy, and he has a budget. Guys, that's a crazy budget. Nobody can live on that. That's living homeless. And who wants to retire here, guys, living in squalor? Nobody. I want to live a decent, happy life. I know there's guys out there that are okay and happy just living in a house, in the provinces or whatever, on a farm with rice paddies and everything. They're okay with that, and I'm happy for them that they like that life. I really am. I'm really happy for those people because they found their niche in life. They got their girlfriend, they're happy. And remember, guys, the things that most retirees look for is security, health insurance, to have somebody around that's going to help you, to be happy, and to be free. Those are the things that most expat retirees look for. And if you leave one of those things out, then your equation's wrong. So just be sure you play it safe, guys. Play it safe, please. And heed my warnings about this, because you don't want to find yourself 5 or 10 years down the road broke here in the Philippines or in Vietnam or in Malaysia or any other country, guys. It's not the place to be broke. And then you have to get a repatriation loan to go back to your country, whether it's the United States, the UK, or Australia, or whatever. Anyway, guys, God bless. I want to throw that out there. I hope it helps you guys, and I hope some people listen. God bless, guys. Take care. Be sure to like and subscribe.